Hello and welcome back to the STB League here for the Season 22 Italian GP, and this time it is for the Tier 3 drivers. I'm currently now on the laps with about 4 minutes to go left in the session, and obviously as usual for the Tier 3 races nowadays we have got Silent Pistol in the com box with me as usual. Obviously we've had very entertaining first race in Tier 1, obviously with my podium, blah blah blah. Tier 2 was also very interesting, probably maybe not as good as Tier 1 it seems, but it's still a very good race nevertheless. And I'm hoping for the same today, Pistol, keep on the trend.
I mean, how could you not in such a track like Monza? Mix it in with Tier 3 where we get to see a lot of dramatic moments. We've had a couple so far this season. I'm sure this will conjure another one of those scenes up here tonight. But the headline so far in this qualifying session, Matt, is that JMO actually overqualifying STB Maldi so far. Of course, JMO closing down that gap on Maldi for the championship standings, and right now is only a mere 28 points away from the Ferrari man, who's still going to be in a party a few minutes ago, Maldi, and he was just saying, I don't care what it takes, what I have to do, I just want to finish ahead of JMO. And going into the next few races, I feel like with the upcoming tracks like Brazil, you've also got Mexico, those kinds of tracks, I feel like you probably want to bag Maldi to actually finish above JMO.
Yep, and I think it's I think also Monday morning it was mentioned, I think as long as Alpine don't outscore Ferrari by 14 points, I think that's what that was it. Ferrari will get the Constructors' Champions. Obviously, that'll be very interesting to see Ferrari get the Constructors' Championship here at the home of Ferrari at Monza for the Italian GP. Obviously, as usual, of course, Ferrari is Italian. And as we see, we've got a couple of cars on laps at the moment. Max on the lap just seems he's got affected by, I think that might have been Rafita through the second Lesmo. He's run a bit wide there. He's run a lot of curve. The Red Bull's off, and I would assume that's Matador, and it is. Got gravity size, it's obviously gone wide. Maxwell, off that moment. He says 10th up.
Well, it seems like for just the last few bits of this qualifying session, we're going to have a four men battling it out for pole position here right until the very end. We've got the two Ferraris mixed in here with the equation. We've got Alpha Z, of course, JMO battling for the championship with STB Maldi. It's going to be interesting to see who will actually come on top out these four very talented men here in Monza. But the first to actually come across the line and start one of their lap times is STB Maldi, the championship leader right now, but not by a comfortable gap by any means.
Also look at Toman, he was 2 tenths up, but it seems to really screwed up the start of the second sector as Sandflex actually having to let a lot of cars through, including Toman in just a moment in time. Yep, we're going on board of Maldi now. This could be the lap, this could be pole position here. Obviously we're heading to turn 1, obviously you brake just before the 100 metre board, and obviously get the car rotating, very important to get the car rotated nicely so you can get to turn 2 straightened up and get a good exit. As Toman's actually then binned it at the exit of Ascari as they come through the Grande Curve, turn 3. It's coming to the end of the first sector Delta. He's just about 21 thousandths up. Second chicane, obviously very challenging chicane this. You can use it at curve and exit, don't use too much, and get on the gravel. He's got the car right so nicely. It's very easy to drift wide or spin here. Oh, he's got on the grass, and that's not going to help him into his left-hander. It's going to make him lose a lot of grip. I'm sure he's lost a bit of time with that pistol. Get him onto that grass there.
Yeah, now Maldi's got to really tighten up here into Ascari.
His laps
down. 2 tenths down. This isn't looking like the dream lap that Maldi would have wanted here for his last and final lap. Exactly. I mean, he told me that he was scared to go through Ascari, and I think he's showcasing that. Unfortunately, on his final lap here in the qualifying session, he'll come round the last turn though. Maldi
not maximised that at all. He really pinched himself.
He'll be across the line. Maldi, what's the lap time going to be? Still about 120.313. The attention is turned over to JMO. Can he get pole?
Yeah, obviously Maldi. He hogs his 8th line too early and he scrubs a lot of speed up. And he's trying to take the shortest route, but he's not carrying the speed. And actually, JMO's ran wide and somehow has got away with that. but I'm sure he lost a bit of time on the AstroTurf as the McLaren just crashed across the line. And Jamo does improve, but only by 23 thousandths. It's not enough to get pole position. And Alpha Z is consolidated. And MGL out of nowhere. And Sandefix has stopped, he's slowed down. He's backed off his lap. Or he's done something.
He's invalidated it, and coming across the line, he has to stay stuck with that 120.126. But MGels, out of absolutely nowhere in the next qualifying session, has flung himself up into P1. Pole position is awarded over to the Aston Martin racing team as MGel 80 comes across the line with a 119.902, and it's able to get himself a crucial pole position.
Yep, I know he's a quite quick driver here. But the fact he's been so off all this qualifying session, I assumed he was struggling. I assumed he wasn't going to get a side lap in, but sometimes it does happen. Sometimes somebody just comes out of nowhere and picks everyone off by surprise. You think it's a top 4 fight, it ended up actually being a top 6 fight in the end. Obviously, Maldi's held down to P6 after all that. I think Yilmaz tipped him at the end there.
Well, it seems like Daniel's actually crashed out right across the line. I think he just spun himself out on purpose just because he was just annoyed at the lap that he set.
Yeah, I saw that was just from, I think it was Gemmo across the line, or Maldi, I can't remember who it was. I'm just waiting for Memo to get in his grids, back in his grids, and to retire from the session, and we will be on to the results. But yeah, let's show qualifying results here for Tier 3. Obviously we've got, I think, what, 4 rounds to go after this? 3 rounds to go, I think, actually.
Yeah,
Mexico,
3 rounds.
Mexico, Brazil, and USA. Oh, USA, Mexico, Brazil, if it's in order. And there's your qualifying positions then for your results. MGL's on pole position, the Norwegian. On pole position here by 0.224 of a second. Side effects on P2 with Jamo P3 with Yilmaz alongside him in the second row of the grid. Alpha Z P5. Maldi would be disappointed with that P6 with messing up that last lap time. Mad Max P7 didn't get his lap in the end. Memo P8, Turner P9, Rafita P10, Daniel P11 after the little crash he had across the line. Chaos P12, Matador P13, Diesel P14. Moncho did not set that time and Perel got disqualified after spinning in front of Maldi on his second run and then ended up getting disqualified.
Well, that's been your qualifying session here in Monza for Tier 3 in STB. We shortly will flick our attention over to, isn't it, the 27 lapper here in Italy, where we'll line up for the grids, go on the formation lap, and swiftly after go to those 5 menacing red lights and watch the action unfold.
Yep, we've got a very sunny Monza here, completely different to what it was in qualifying, very overcast qualifying. So it looks like it's going to be a dry race, which is always very, very nice to see around Monza. I think rain is actually a bad thing for Monza because it just you lose DRS and it just makes it very difficult to overtake. And you're completely relying on brakes, which is very, very challenging in the wet conditions, especially with all the heavy braking zones around here. But yeah, we are waiting for them to get going. 20 seconds until the start formation lap. What do you think is going to happen this race? Any predictions, Pistol?
Well, I feel like Side Effects is going to withhold himself against JMO, in my opinion. I think Side Effects, he's clearly shown that he has pace around, not only Monza, but any track in general. He's clearly got some insane pace. But taking into the fact that MGL's also in the lineup, I feel like with that 119, you've got to back him to actually win this race. Granted, he didn't necessarily have the best of Spa Grand Prix, where he did qualify P1, funnily enough, but did have a little bit of a collision down into Lecom as a has gone round.
That's Yilmaz.
Yeah, not too sure what he's done there, but that's one way to warm the tyres up, I guess.
Yeah, probably not the right way to do it. Probably end up doing more damage to your tyres than actually warming them up.
But back to the
nicely, not too ruthlessly.
Back to the MGL situation. He's currently P1. He did qualify P1 in Spa. He did race in the Tier 2 race. Did actually quite well as well. So tonight he's been begging to race for Tier 3. It doesn't seem like he's too... he was too far-fetched for asking that. He only overqualified Side Effects by, I think, a 10th or something in the qualifying session. So it doesn't seem like MGL is going to gap everybody by 10 seconds like Maldi was potentially thinking. But I feel like MGL, his pace in the quali session wasn't consistent. I feel like whilst he did have that one very good lap from himself, I feel like he might not necessarily transfer that over to the 27 lapper. And I feel like Side Effects, JMO, Yilmaz will all be able to feast on the opportunities that MJ might make some potential mistakes.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see how that works out. Obviously, maybe set up maybe a little bit more just to hot laps than race pace, but sometimes that can correlate into the race and they can actually do pretty well. And also, information on tyres. Memo's gone for the sauce. Last time we saw somebody on sauce around Italy was tier 2 yesterday, and I can't remember who it was, the name of who did it, but I know it didn't work out very well for them.
It was Chime. That was it. It was Chime.
Yeah, and it didn't work out for him. Though he had quite good grip, he ended up having a few mistakes, and then ended up pitting with 3 laps going and retired. It can work. He might get a really good start. He's got all the hard runners in front of him, so he can have a very, very good grip compared to them. Side Effects is qualified, obviously not bikes his car properly, but remember he's got a good chance to try and get some pick up some positions. But he will probably pit around lap 7 and just hang it on as hard to the end. It's not a terrible strategy, it's just not the optimal fastest.
Well, here we go. Pirlo going to round off the formation lap. Did just lack off a little bit behind. He's the final man to set up
if you look at
the final.
He's pointing about 500 million degrees to the right.
Well, let's see what happens as it's 5 red lights. Never mind, it's a glitch.
As usual.
Green light, go, 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 here at STB, in tier 3,
He's got a great start.
Awful start for MJ. He's got these slipped out positions, spinning right off the start, and Side Effects picked up a free position as Alpha, and also Jamie goes side by side into the first, and Jamie cuts the corner, gets a 3-second time penalty for it, rejoins back into his original P2, made that contact with Alpha Z, and how could he not cut the corner there? Memo getting an overtake here on Yilmaz, STB Maldi dropping down 1 position, but that 1 position could be extremely crucial later on. Yilmaz versus Memo going into the second chicane, a very difficult place to go side by side. Is it going to be fatal for one of these two drivers? Maldi sweeping in, but he's got a bit of distraction on the exit, and now Maldi has lost 2 positions trying to go for a switchback manoeuvre, which would have been extremely satisfying to see, but lost that grip on the exit of the second turn in that chicane. Got a little bit too eager to get a switch back and therefore paid the price of losing 2 positions. Daniel and Timo could be going at it very shortly, but look up ahead. We see JMO versus Side Effects could be unfolding very shortly, but right now it's Memo versus Yilmaz. They were 49 thousandths between the two of them, and Chaos has gone, not gone round, but has made a mistake in the scurry, but he almost went round there. Probably did. Another flick back to JMO, but here we go. JMO, he's going to be up against Side Effects. You've got to feel like for pretty much the whole of this Grand Prix. Just Side Effects, he's probably going to maintain his pace at the start. But what did I say about MJ? He's got the pace, got some fantastic pace in qualifying, but he doesn't replicate it over to the races in of itself. Toman looking to get an overtake here on Mimmer, but you can just see actually lifts off the throttle to not go for the move into the first turn. As we all know, the first turn can be chaotic, and that example of Jamin cutting the corner was the example shown to us. Memo looking for the re-overtake back on Cartel and Yilmaz going into the second chicane. He's not going to get close enough to look for an overtake, but Maldi is side by side with the McLaren going into the second chicane. It's the Ferrari versus the McLaren, and not enough room, for Daniel to actually keep his nose in, and almost spun around because of it. What have you made of JMO as and STB Maldi's race so far, Matthew?
No, I think Maldi got caught in that battle. I think it was actually Yamero trying to make a move on Yilmaz, and they both end up slowing each other down a lot, which then caused that commotion, which caused all those cars to be at different speeds on the exit, and obviously caused a lot of swaps in positions. And that's what caused all that. That's how Maldi lost positions. Oh, is every time he was at the back of him. Maldi.
And now Maldi has lost a little bit of his front wing. He's now got a little bit of damage on that front wing. Has to peel into the pit lane. Probably this lap actually, so he's going to make a move around the outside of the feet, and you can just see that wing damage coming into play. That is super unlucky for Maldi. Toman just lost all his grip on the exit of a Ascari, and Maldi paid a price of it. DRS finally enabled this lap though. Maldi peels into the pit lane to change the new front wing. Lap 3 of 27.
Yeah, it looked like that Toman lost her end, and then Maldi got distracted, lost it himself. but he was carrying more speed and then never going to the back of him. But why did Maudi didn't slow down? And why Toman was that slow? I don't know. I don't know what exactly caused it. It just looked like Toman lost the rear end, and then Maudi was slow as well, and then Maudi had to carry more speed, and then obviously went into the back of him. Whether he was in control enough to slow down.
I was on board with Toman actually throughout that whole situation. Just going through his car, I didn't feel confident at all. Right, well, he actually did feel confident right until that very last turn. Just quit a little bit back inside, tried to save his car. Got a little bit on the outside as well, and was wiggling straight into the centre of the straight, and almost lost his back end. And I think if Maudi didn't hit the backside of Toman, I think Toman would have actually spun because of it. It looks like Maudi actually just fixed his car round and made sure he didn't spin. And what is going on between Pirlo and Chaos? I have just seen the worst racing in my commentating history. What was that? And Pirlo has lost the front wing because of it. He's now having to rejoin the track. Yeah, just not some very good racing there between, I believe that was Chaos and Pirlo.
Yeah, Momo's been a bit iffy since qualifying because he got disqualified. He got spun round, but I don't get how he's then gone backwards because it wasn't exactly fully spun round. He was like sideways, unless you were just reversed way too far backwards. I don't know, but yeah. I'm looking at the back of Memo again. Obviously, Memo's still looking at the back of Yilmaz here as Yolda's showing he's still got some pace. Let's fast up the race at the back there. As the two Red Bulls, I think, are swapping positions at the moment.
Pirlo, 5 second time penalty for speeding to the pit lane. Maudi's going to get free position from this. Pirlo, retires into the pit lane. He's I've had enough.
Moncho.
As Moncho does go round, but SPD Maudi, I feel like Maudi. Oh, J-Mo! Look how close he's getting into side effects. Pulls out.
Oh, he's back of him, and he's round.
J-Mo's into the back of side effects, and that was almost picturesque to what we saw. Picture perfect to what we saw in Japan. Yeah, exactly. When side effects spun Maudi, J-Mo had spun side effects. Surely that's going to be a penalty at the end of this Grand Prix after the race. And now Alphas could be in contention for leading the Grand Prix and potentially taking a victory.
Yep, it's all been interesting to see how this all falls out. We've still got 22 laps of racing to go, not including this one. It's actually making a move.
Here comes Alphas looking down the inside on J-Mo. Alpine versus Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo looks to go for a switch back and just get a better exit. Does he get that crucial better exit going into the second chicane? Alpine versus Alfa Romeo. J-Mo versus Alfa Z. Going into second chicane, Alpha, I don't think he's going to be close enough to send it down the inside, and he's not brave enough to do so, or should I say, stupid enough to do so. And therefore, J-Mo is able to keep his P1.
That's fast lap of the race on those fresh and mediums. Maudi showing he's got some decent pace, but that is on the softer compound. So we'll see how it works out. Maudi might have to stretch those tyres and maybe go on to the softs later on. Or you could go on to another set of mediums, because we will have another set of mediums available to him. And let's see if he went balanced on his tyre strategy. So he can go mediums to the end, or he could go mediums and then go softs. But that would just mean he has to do a good 22 laps on his tyres, which is probably not recommended. But yeah,
and Daniel 06
just
made a mass
gap.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be very easy for Alphas to close that down due to the ERS and DRS, and he's going to have the same ERS and DRS going into the first turn. But 5 tenths back, he's not going to get any close enough to go for an overtake on J-Mo. He's now 7 tenths actually the gap now, and Memo has left. Oh, I know LSK. Memo's into the pit lane. Another big mistake. Yeah, another big mistake there. Not too sure what happened with Chaos. Might be just bad internet, but Matt. Matt. But Mad Max also getting close to Alpha, and you can see Cartel and Yilmaz actually getting very close to Mad Max. Mad Max as well.
On a 2-stop. Sorry, he's baffling me.
And basically, Yilmaz getting close to Mad Max. If Mad Max can actually get under 1 second, which he has done right now, it's now officially a DRS train between P1 and P4. Could we see some great action between these 4 drivers going later down the line in this Grand Prix? We'll have to see as Alpha gets very close to J-Mo going into Ascari. On the exit, is it the same story? I don't think it is. J-Mo just pulling up that gap into the chicane, just has better control of his car through the turns. But Alpha now going to round Parabolica. Chaos has joined back once more. I think it was you that invited him, so if you did, thank you very much, Matt. But Alpha now getting very close to JMO, but he's not going to get close enough to look for an overtake. Mad Max has got some DRS, so has Yilmaz. He's just about staying in there with his DRS. Looks like Mad Max is getting closer to Alpha than Alpha is to JMO. Sometimes you do have just some people going 0-0 wings, which is what JMO's doing, as Alpha makes a mistake into the first chicane. Here, lap 7 of 27.
Yeah, he just caught the inside curve there. Just had a little bit of a moment, but actually ended up working not too bad for him. Ended up giving him a bit more of a wider entry into turn 2. Giving him you can cut in a little bit and get a better exit. But actually ended up shot that a little bit. There, he's going to need some time.
He's all looking for the overtake on his teammates. The two Rebels going at it into the first chicane. A little bit of contact between the two, and Chaos is also been there looking for that overtake on one of the Rebels, but he's not going to get it thus far. I think Diesel just has to stay behind his teammate for now as he wobbles onto the grass. He's used all of his ERS, but to no good fortune. So the two Rebels, they have been close to each other for pretty much all of this race. And now the commentator curse strikes again as Diesel is now no longer near his teammate and is now down into last place in P15.
Yeah, obviously Chaos had a bit of a effect there. Oh! Careful for someone like you just hit a brick wall there. Just slow down in the middle of the straight. I don't know what happened there. He let his teammate through, but it was a very aggressive way of doing so if that was the case.
Well, Alpha's actually not got DRS now to JMO, so if JMO can pull away that gap, that's going to be extremely crucial going into the next few rounds.
Alpha's got a good exit though, he's back it down to 8/10.
Yeah, he's doing very well into the chicanes, I feel like Alpha's. It's just the sector 2 where he doesn't necessarily have the greatest pace, and it's kind of where JMO is able to pull a little bit of gap, so you could just see right now. Massive spin from JMO! He's gone from P1, he's dropping down all the positions, he's now into P4, with Daniel just arriving, going into the Lesbos. Oh my, JMO spin from P1 to P4, he's absolutely bottled the potential chance of capping Alphas by some considerable time, and now he's all the way into P4.
Yeah, he just lost it on the exit. I think he just lost it on the curb. He just got a bit too aggressive on the power there. At curb, you can use it for the throttle, but if you just get a bit wrong on it, it can catch you off. As now Memo's not quite getting Memo of an overtake at the moment. He's running out of ERS as well, but he's got a bit of DRS. But yeah, that was inevitable. I'm sure.
Well, actually,
the now battle.
I'm sorry, but JMO right now he's in the worst position possible he could have been when he spun there. Look at the people behind him. Look at the people who have now got that DRS right on JMO. It's a massive DRS train. JMO, I mean, you know, you have those 0-0 wings, but I feel like you could easily use those 0-0 wings when you have full traction. But it seems like JMO's still spinning.
So there's contact with Memo and Matador there through the Parabolica, and MGL has just breezed past all of them, including Memo. Might be on the hard tie. He's got a lot more pace in these guys though. Oh, and Memo's got
that's a massive send. That's a massive send there from Memo. Can he get a better exit into the second chicane? Second turn of the chicane. No, he can't.
Just a better driver, I think, at this moment, really, to be honest. Obviously, we showed that in qualifying. He's probably got 2 seconds faster. I love you saying that.
But nevertheless, Daniel's actually not got that DRS now, so that kind of worst possible scenario for JMO was just a time that he was there for a little bit. He's now gapped Daniel by 1 second, and he's now got a little bit of breathing room. Looking to close on the gap to Yilmaz in P3.
Oh man, I almost lost it again. But yeah, we'll see how this race goes. I'm kind of hoping for a safety car here because it's very split up. I think at the moment it's a bit, and it's actually separated a bit out for this top 4. So I think we need a bit of a safety car to bring these guys back in again. It's only going to get more
Daniel,
separators.
I think peeling into the pit lane. Yeah, peeling into the pit lane for Daniel.
Very stop. That's at least another 2 laps at least. But he's obviously going for a very big undercut.
Well, Chaos looking for some side-by-side action with Matador. The only side-by-side action they got was going into the side of the barriers in Parabolica. And is that going to be a safety car?
No.
No, it's not going to be. And Maldi's plucked away some free DRS. As now Daniel's actually joined right with Memo and MGL'd in P10 and P9.
Yeah, he's looks like there. The grip out that corner there. Track control was just kicking in like mad there. That was really weird. But yeah, obviously collision there, but doesn't look any damage was done. There's no pit stops was being made. But yeah, it's a bit spread out now, and it's in its top 6. Apart from Max still keeping within DRS of Alpha's 8. And side effects fixes a time penalty.
Yeah, and that's really
Toman.
put.
Sorry, every time I look at Toman go for Ascari, he's losing the rear end. And at some point, he's going to lose that car completely. He is going to be in the barriers at some point of this race. The way he's going.
Could that be the moment that causes the safety car that you've been wanting for the past 3 laps? We'll see. As Toman's now looking to get a run down on side effects going into the first turn. DRS is going to be wide open on the Ferrari. He might just breeze past him. I think he'll have to use the corner now going into the first turn. He will. Toman and side effects side by side action. He goes to the helicopter cam, and now side effects forced to cut the corner. He doesn't get the 3 seconds like JMO did on the first lap. But Toman looking to get the overtake now, back onto side effects, looking for the overtake into the second chicane, potentially using that slipstream, using his ERS just a little bit. Second chicane, he's not willing to go side by side through there, and that's pretty smart from Toman.
Yeah, I think side effects is kind of a bit more downforce. Side effects does like a little bit more downforce normally. We saw that in Belgium as well. It does like to carry a little bit more downforce, even at Monza it seems, because even though without any overtake being used by either of them, even going towards the second chicane there, Toman still had the straight line speed on him. So I wonder if Toman's just he's got inside here.
And there you go, Toman. Or maybe switch back from side effects if he can get it. That would be absolutely lovely. Jubbly on the exit of Ascari, sorry, just showcasing the exit Toman has of Ascari. It's always awful. But going into Parabolica or out of Parabolica shortly. Is there going to be any contact between the two going into turn 1? I feel like there is still going to be side-by-side action going into that first turn like we saw just a lap ago. I don't think there's going to be any action into the first turn considering the rundown by side effects. Is he actually going to catch up to Toman? Different questions being flung up, and it looks like side effects will not be able to look for a move on Toman going into that first turn. So it seems like that 3-second time penalty, by the way, for side effects doesn't necessarily hurt him too much. I mean, of course, if he does get an overtake on Toman, then it does, of course, with the
flags.
Oh, here's Daniel looking for the overtake here on Memo. He now pulls alongside. He's now ahead of Memo. And going into that first turn, Memo looking for potentially up the inside. He's not going to get it. No room, absolutely whatever from Daniel. And he wasn't really entitled to give that space, of course. Mario just sitting behind, watching all of this. He wants to get stuck into the action, maybe get an overtake here on Memo. If he can climb back into the points, I would call it a decent recovery drive. Daniel getting close. Oh, down the inside he goes on the Aston Martin. That's brave. Oh, I mean, brave, done. It's a coin toss. It seems like it landed on heads. Which, in other words, it's done. Mad Max makes a mistake and it brings out a full course safety car.
I thought it was Toman then.
That's perfect for the medium runners.
It's perfect
that is,
for people,
that is
like
quite
Maldi
literally
or Memo
perfect.
or Chaos. It's great route for them. It's going to screw over
Into the
Daniel
pit lane, Alpha goes. Into the pit lane, Yilmaz goes. Also Mad Max. JMO as well.
For Moncho.
Well, that's not very good, is it? Oh, no, wait.
Mediums should be good to the end here, so should be flying on the mediums. So medium runners hard runners can easily and happily pit for certain mediums as well. So, yeah, front wing change for the AlphaTauri. Toman's going to be stuck behind us as well. Toman's going to lose some places here. Obviously, Toman was stuck behind it, but obviously he has to pit because he needs to get onto those hard tyres, and he still haven't started changing his tyres. Now they have, and he's lost. He must have lost about 10 seconds, about 5, 6, 7 seconds there, easy. Whether he lost a place from it, I don't know. I'm sure he lost a place to side effects. Or
do you think this? Sorry.
Do you
think this?
lose in Chaos. Chaos has got past him. Chaos hasn't pitted though, which is very strange. I'm surprised. I'm quite surprised he hasn't pitted, to be honest.
Do you think this safety car actually brings Mauli back into the equation for potentially a podium finish?
Well, podium finish is you're pushing it here, to be honest. But it's still possible. But he's got a lot of cars to overtake. He's got to overtake at least 10 cars. maybe a couple of cars from pit stops like Chaos or something. But apart from that, it's looking, it's very unlikely. But we'll see. There's penalties being taken into account here as well. The tier 3 drivers obviously might pick a few more penalties than probably the other 2 tiers. Just naturally, because you expect that from just being natural skill gap. But doesn't mean they'll get more penalties, just means there's probably a higher chance they would. But we could see it's still got 15 laps of things that can happen along this race. It would be very interesting to see. Obviously, got Daniel sandwiched in the middle of that gap there on older hard tyres. But that also does bring Jarrow back into it as well. After his spin.
Safety car is going to not peel into the pit lane on this lap. Most likely on the next lap, but we'll see when Matador and Diesel actually catch up with the safety car, as well as Maldi, Memo, MGLs. We'll give the drivers. So he'll be out for one more lap, then he'll come back into the pit lane. And it looks like one man's already in the pit lane. That's Chaos, and maybe wrong strategy.
No, he was realistically should have really done it last lap. But I don't think he's going to lose too much from it anyway, because he was already down there in the first place. But yeah, he's just doing scheduled pit stop really, so there's nothing wrong with there.
Well, Matador and Diesel going to shortly come back over to the safety car, but Alpha is leading the way after JMO's spin. He's in P3 right now, but with that 3-second time penalty, it probably drops him all the way down to around where Side Effects is in P7. But of course, that's going to be overruled by his 3-second time penalty. Diesel overtaking Matador as Matador peels into the pit lane. This might go on for another lap.
She changes his wing actually, so yeah, safety car will probably go for the lap because Matador. It's always Matador. He always makes the safety car last one lap longer than it should actually really be. He somehow always manages to do it in different ways. In Belgium, it was because he was on the slicks and it was very wet, so it took a while. Today, it's because he picked up damage in his span and peeled in the pits, and obviously he's now another 46 behind the leaders. And he's just completely outshot himself. He's just gone straight on turn 1 and just basically screamed. Why is he come on the track like that? I don't know. I don't know why he's come back on the track at 90-degree angle on the apex. Then he had to do basically a 270-degree turn on the F1 car, which doesn't work very well.
Well, Memo actually just went straight ahead in one of the Lesmo. Just went straight ahead, went into the gravel trap. There's also a couple of positions from that. Free position, I guess, for Maldi looking to climb back into the points. He's got Evan in front of him, who has made a few mistakes in this Grand Prix.
Mercedes have clashed. Mercedes made contact there. I don't know what's going on there.
I mean, they've not had particularly the greatest of races, have they? Both the Bucks and the Chaos. Diesel gonna catch up. One more lap left to go on the safety car, unless Matador decides to peel into the pit lane again. If he does, I would be quite annoyed. But we'll come shortly round Parabolica, and we'll go green once more here in Monza.
Yeah, just waiting for Matador. Mengel's really trying to push Moncho, getting close here. Trying to avoid going side by side. Oh, the Ferrari has just hit the back of the Aston Martin, and that's Maldi.
Has he lost his front wing?
I don't think he has. But
I think he's fine.
Whether he's picked up any lime green damage, I don't know. But I don't know why Maldi did that and then cut the turn 1. I don't know why he did that, because he's lost the pace by doing so. I think Maldi's probably overreacted and then probably couldn't then respond as basically disabled his driving for like a few seconds. I don't know, but Maldi obviously, I think it was caught napping there. I think he was going full speed into turn 1. Obviously, people were left off very early into turn 1 during the safety car. I think Maldi was just a bit. I think Maldi was sleeping a little bit.
Well, he's got to be wide awake now because that collision could have brought. Oh, Daniel! What has he done here?
He spun it.
People are bottling it under the safety car. I mean, this is
more mistakes happening this last laps than there happened to be in the whole race.
Matador then will catch up to the safety car, and there you go. The safety car is in this lap, ladies and gentlemen.
F1 cars are meant to drive fast, not slow.
Alpha is going to round off the safety car as Chaos has left the session once more.
Damn him, damn internet.
Well, Alpha going very, very slow on the straight. So slow, in fact, that we're still stuck on that one camera angle where it doesn't even show the car, but it does now. So Alpha, followed on by Carter, Cartel and Yilmaz. We've got Jamer, Rafita, Mad Max, Side Effects, Daniel, Tobin, Moncho, MGR, Membo, and Maldi, Chaos, Diesel, Matador, all ready for the restarts of the safety car here. The question is, when will Alpha go? He's gone very early there, going into Parabolica instantly, wanting to get back to racing once more. He's gone all the way to the throttle, almost lost it as well. And that is a restart. J-Mo's dropping down positions. Why am I? He's dropping down like flies.
Illegal overtakes now, Maxwell.
And then it goes J-Mo, gets the three positions. Daniel sliding up into P5, looking for potential overtaking on J-Mo. Down the inside, he's going on J-Mo here. Does he take him out? Little bit of contact between the two of them. And on the exit, I feel like there's more contact. And Side Effects flies through. Gets two positions in one. Fantastic overtaking skills there from Side Effects. He's climbed up into P4. AlphaTauri versus McLaren here with Mad Max versus Daniel Maloney back into the points now of the Grand Prix. 3 second time penalty still from J-Mo. He's going to get a little bit more for spinning Side Effects after the race, you've got to assume. But Side Effects here to P4. I mean, what was that restart in the field with J-Mo? Just like lost so many positions, and then I mean, I don't even know. There was such a kerfuffle, I couldn't make words of it. But nevertheless, J-Mo, I mean, Side Effects right now, he's got a legal fight. I say legal because of those 3 seconds, you know. So it's actually a fight that counts. Instead of just staying behind, you get free position. But yeah, you got Side Effects here up front. It's just that DRS, the ERS, as well as the 0-0 wings that J-Mo is using, just completely throws off of the drivers. The pace you get down the straights is unbelievable, and he's going to showcase it here up onto Side Effects. Look at the amount of miles per hour he's got gained on Side Effects here. He's got 4 miles per hour gained going into that first attempt, which is actually quite huge. Moncho peeling into the pit lane now, and must have got some wing damage. J-Mo not able to overtake Side Effects just yet, but you got to feel like an overtake is coming soon between them.
Yeah, like I say, Side Effects just tend to carry a bit more drag. He always tends to carry more downforce, and it's really hurting. It kind of works in qualifying, but in the race it just really hurts you because you just can't defend. It's really about running as low downforce as possible. Like e.g., I was using 0-1, Balance was using 3-1. So a bit of variation. We're all using really below 3 downforce.
And 2 minutes out the session, he's retired by straight into the wall.
Yeah,
safety car, for God's sake, that's not a safety car.
I saw Toman almost lose it at Scari again last lap, and I'm not surprised, he's been losing around all the race. He's obviously got it set up all wrong, and it's way too oversteering. There's another safety car, and I wonder if maybe Daniel will pit, maybe for a new set of tyres. He's on the old set of hards. I wonder if anyone will push for a set of softs. It's a bit early for softs. We need a couple more laps yet before we really go on softs. But maybe an option for something like Moncho or something to do that. But I wonder if anyone will take the risk. I don't think anyone will though.
And scoring down the order. Side Effects into the pit lane, Daniel as well. And now Maldi.
It's triggered it. Maldi stays out.
And now Maldi is going to get very close to J-Mo on the restart of the safety car. That 3 second time penalty though for J-Mo coming in very, very dishearteningly.
Side Effects says softs. That's going to be a big ask for those tyres.
Well, we'll see if they can stretch it out. I mean, Side Effects not particularly a man known for his tyre management, but we'll see if he can actually showcase some very good tyre management here for the next 7 or so laps of the Grand Prix. As you can see, it's Moncho actually coming into the pit lane. Next safety car might last around 2 laps or so. So you've got Side Effects potentially having 2 laps. I wouldn't say of 3 tyre management, but considerably less tyre management than he would have if he went full force for 2 laps straight. So he's going to nurture them decently under the safety car. If he can do that on the restart, can he last it around 8 or 7 laps? I feel like I mean, we saw this with side effects, I believe, in Portugal, didn't we? We saw him in Portimao just stretching out hard tyres for a considerably long amount of time to go onto the softs in the first place. And their wheels popped, blasted out, and in Portimao he actually appealed onto the pit lane and he was dead last at the end of the race. He's got to try and avoid that as humanly possible into this race as well, as he is actually battling for P2 in the driver standings. I think it is still in contention for him to win the championship, but it is extremely unlikely that he will. So we'll see what he can do. Can he nurture the cars right until the the tyres right up until the end? We'll see very shortly.
Yeah, obviously these guys are obviously all on. Obviously these new guys, new tyres. They've got what 4 or 5 laps advantage tyre grip compared to everyone else ahead of them. But remember, I think it was me. Obviously, it was a different situation because obviously Bowers was on 3 lap fresher tyres, but he was ahead. It can make a little bit of a difference, but whether it can make a big difference in terms of traction, it can maybe. But when you're all strapping around each other like this in the big train, it's quite difficult to do so. It definitely makes your life easier trying to make overtakes, but it's maybe not worth losing the track position though. It's a bit of a risk because you could risk not gaining those places back. So if it was a few laps later and you want to go onto a set of softs, then yeah, probably would work because you will have that bigger gap in tyres. But it just doesn't seem like it's worth the track position loss. And this might actually help people like Maldi and Rafita, who have gained a lot from it. Rafita's actually gone on now. I don't know how he's in P3, sorry, ahead of Jamo. Well, when that happens.
Hold on, give me a second. 10, 8 plus 2 is 10. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Ferrari are constructors champions. As you can see, of course, Jamo has to gain 14 points on both Maldi and side effects. Right now, Maldi and side effects are the constructors champions. They will settle it here in Monza if they can withhold their current positions. But safety car is in this lap. Mad Maxwell, 3-second time penalty. I don't know why I call him Mad Maxwell, but I'm just going to call him Mad Maxwell.
Yeah,
but we'll see what Alpha could do on the restart. Went very early last time out to get the best possible exit out of Parabolica. Is he going to look to do the same? Will Yilmaz expect it? He didn't the last time round, will he now? He doesn't. He doesn't expect it. Going into Parabolica, how much of a gap will Alpha withheld out of the exit? It's around 8 tenths. A fantastic start for Alpha as Lemjon gets an overtake Neil Matters of it side by side going on to the exit of Parabolica. Of course, you cannot overtake until you cross that white line, but now that they have crossed said white line, MJ going to look for the overtake here on Matters going to turn 1. Aston Martin versus Red Bull side by side action going into the first turn here between the two F1 cars, of course, side by side onto the exit of the first game. It looks like Matters got bumped, collision in the background, which sees side effects falling down the order. He's into P11. Daniel gets the overtake on Memo. I mean, what was that collision going to turn 1? I can't say if I tried.
It's just 4 places. Oh, it's been the collision with the McLaren and Mercedes. That's Memo and Daniel. They've made a collision, and the Alpha Tauri is trying to take advantage of this now.
And you can just see side effects lurking in the background, looking for a potential overtake as well. Looks like
Memo's gone. He's spun. He's in the gravel.
Oh, and side effects bumps the back of Daniel. That could have definitely been a spinach there for the McLaren. Very, very lucky Daniel is to not turn around after side effects making contact with his rear wing. Going into Ascari now. Doesn't look like there's going to be much action between these 4 drivers unless Mad Maxwell can get onto the back here of Matador. He's going to take that left-hand side. I've got incredible lag on my screen, so if I sound quite distorted, that's why. Daniel going into Parabolica now looking for the overtake. And then getting side effects as well, taking advantage of the position. He's of course on those soft compound tyres, so he's going to get the best possible restart of the safety car. Right now, he hasn't had said restart as MJ side by side action here with STB Maldi going into that first turn. MJ versus Maldi, first turn, now into the second turn. And it looks like MJ gets the overtake. Mad Max and also Daniel having action, and Daniel goes wide. And side effects there, getting the overtake. Right now, Ferrari are still the Constructors' champions, ladies and gentlemen. So, as it is right now, wait, no, it's not.
Overtake, sorry, and he's
spin from MJ, that's another mistake from the Aston Martin in this Grand Prix so far. And STB Mally back up into P5. He's got to keep it within 3 seconds. What's going on?
Daniel. Yeah, Daniel's just it was just MJL getting scraped past by Mad Max, and Daniel's actually bottled again. He's used all his overtake, used everything he had, and only lost places in doing so. And he's now spanned, and he's now got no ERS, and no DRS, and no one ahead of him to overtake. So his race is effectively over.
Well, Jamo with that 3-second time penalty of cutting the first turn in Monza because of a collision into that first turn right on the start of the Grand Prix. DRS is now finally enabled, and well, Baldy, he hasn't got the best of pace here in Monza. He's currently P5. If he can get the jump on Jamo, it would do him some massive favours going into next week, which is, of course, the Circuit of Americas. All he has to do now is just keep it within 3 seconds, and he should be fine. And MJL, yeah, look at that. That was a very, very deep, well, not deep lunge, but very far.
Oh, he lost it again!
Oh, nice spun! He spun again! And Side Effects picks up a free position. I mean, MJL making mistake after mistake here in this Grand Prix. He's definitely got the pace, and we've seen it, but he's just been bottling it on the race.
Yeah, he's obviously just something about it. I'm not sure what Mancho's doing, to be honest. It's a no. Okay, so I has US vaccine all sectors then for a second. But yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Obviously, Side Effects obviously almost got hit by that. MJL just doesn't seem to have the confidence in either consistency. One lap he might think he can do it, the next lap he's pissing his head off the setup. So something's not going right for him.
Well, J-Man right now will be gaining points on Maldi in the championship standings, but only 2 points. Going into next week, he still wouldn't be able to overtake Maldi in the Drivers' Championship, no matter what happens tonight. If he does only get P4, Maldi does get this P5. It's only 2 points gained. There won't be any overtakes to the championship. It's just 2 points closer to Maldi, which is pretty much a win and a fastest lap away from actually tying with Maldi for the championship. But if that is to happen in the Circuit of Americas, then and as Massador goes very deep into that first turn on Chaos, what I was going to say is that if Maldi does retire in Kota and Gemmo wins and gets the fastest lap, not to fret, as well, not really not to fret, but Maldi does have more wins than Gemmo in the championship, and as it stands right now, if they were to be tied on points, Maldi would still be leading the championship. So right now, Maldi, and whilst I know he's going to be in the party going very, very mad right now and contemplating his life choices, don't be scared, Maldi, as next week there's nothing Gemmo can do to overtake it. Yeah, Side Effects with another penalty.
And obviously, obviously Maldi's behind it, but I think Maldi's got the penalty.
Oh, 3 second time penalty for Jamo! That was absolutely massive, actually. Because now Maldi... Yeah, well, the penalty, if you include what will happen after the race, if the stewards do deem that Jamo hit back of Side Effects and him getting spun is worthy enough of getting another point on, penalty onto his tally. We haven't really focused on the top spots here, but we will now as Yilmaz goes side by side here with Alpha Z going into the first turn of the Italian Grand Prix. There's contact between the two Haas cars, and looks like Rafita is now in distance of Jamo. Jim's going to pick up that crucial DRS, but Yilmaz looking for the overtake here on Alpha Z going into the second chicane, using that ERS, absolutely dumping it. Can he get a victory? Here in Monza, down the inside he goes on the Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo breaks much more deeper, but on the exit, does Yilmaz get a better exit? He does. Is he going to go side by side into the Lesmo? He will. On the inside, the Haas car goes. He's not going to make it stick. And into the second Lesmo, and the Alfa Z is 2 tenths ahead.
Yeah, Jamo has just joined this battle as well. They've lost a lot of time here. At this rate, Maldi's going to catching up the way the guys are losing a lot of time. But all quite low on here. All of them are around sort of below 20% at the moment. Apart from Alpha Z, just got a bit of 25%. But they're all quite scrapping for low percentages of VLS here. It's going to be difficult to see how that works out. Now they need to get a move on if he wants to get more places to take advantage of any of this. But if Maldi that's the case, we'll need to hope for more battles to slow them down. At the moment, it doesn't seem to be enough for anyone. But Maldi's now got Mad Max behind him on much better tyres, but he has got penalties.
Well, Jim's going to have DRS going to the first turn, but so will Yilmaz. There's a battle commencing once more between the Alfa Romeo and Haskar down the inside. Yilmaz goes. Going to be 3 abreast going into the first turn. No, it won't be. Alpha Z here into P1 of the Grand Prix. They're still side by side. Yilmaz and Alpha Z onto the exit they go. Yilmaz with that inside line is going to get the re-overtake. And Alpha Z sits back down into P2. Right now, JMO is still behind Maldi in this Grand Prix.
It was side by side for a bit.
And it's going to be 4.4 seconds, the gap between Maldi and Jim. But you can just see that time just disintegrating before their very eyes because they've been battling and battling.
Saying that,
and right now
because Maldi and Kawai and Max have been flying temperature themselves, so the gap's actually stabilised about 4 seconds at the moment between the two groups.
Well, here we go. Max going to go side by side with Maldi. Gets the overtake. I think Maldi just needs to avoid getting any penalties right now, because if he does, then...
he hasn't got the tyres either.
Yeah, that would be very crucial. F1X Diesel gets a 3-second time penalty, as JMO's looking for another overtake here, potentially on Alpha Z. I mean, if he does get these overtakes, I mean, you've got to say it's not looking too good for Maldi. He's got around 5 seconds now, the gap to JMO, as JMO's going to look to get overtake here on Alpha Z. DRS, EOS, wide open here for JMO. Are they going to be side by side going to the first turn? I think they will. Alpha Z versus JMO into that first turn, both battling it out. And it looks like the battle is very shortly cut, as JMO was not able to get the grip going into the second turn to look for the re-overtake. As Rafita is looking to get the overtake here on JMO. Of course, the exit not going to get the greatest effects if you're battling it out. And it seems like Rafita won't be looking able to get down to the second chicane. But I'm going to give you one to speak a second, Matt. But Maldi, right now, you could say that him getting overtaken is a blessing in disguise, because he's going to get that DRS. He's going to be towed along by Mad Max. Yeah, and the best thing about it is that Mad Max does not need, well, Maldi does not need to overtake Mad Max due to that 3-second time penalty. So we can just hang in here, potentially not coast, but can pick up some 3 seconds, you could say, and get the potential overtaking needs on JMO. I mean, we'll see right now. I'm going to turn the gap to the leader.
Yeah.
Around.
Comment here. Alpha Z, I think, is carrying a bit more downforce. He's really struggling down the straights, I think. Jonas was able to pass him pretty much very easily, and I think JMO's got much more speed as well, even with both DRS. And JMO's got no overtake left at all, and obviously he's actually still got some battery left. But I think obviously he's just carrying a little bit more downforce.
Well, right now it's around 5 seconds between Maldi and JMO. JMO though with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. Of course, if he is behind, that's going to be around, into the maths real quick, 6 or so points from Maldi if he's to finish in P6, and if Jim is to finish in P7, he'll get, I believe, 4 points, 1 more point, and so Maldi would actually gain 1 point to, of course, JMO at the end of this Grand Prix. But it is the final lap, ladies and gentlemen, and whilst there is a battle at the top, I'm going to personally, in my opinion, focus
all of his DRS.
And here we go.
Closer.
Can he get the overtake into a Scary?
He's going to have a bit of line. Yilmaz has compromised himself here.
We go, Yilmaz. He's just completely run out of EOS, but so has Alpha Z. This is going to go right down to the wire. Alpha Z versus Yilmaz. Round the outside, Yilmaz. No, Alpha Z is looking to go. Switch back potentially for Alpha Z. Is it in order? He's not going to get the overtake. Yilmaz, by the skin of his teeth, will take the victory here in Monza. JMO, how far is he going to fall down? Maldi comes across the line, and JMO does fall down the position. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's official. Ferrari are Constructors' champions.
Yep, it's a great thing to have, I'm sure. But this, that's Ferrari Constructors champions. Obviously, dominated. Obviously, side effects of Maldi, obviously at the very top of the championship, and obviously it's carried them to victory. With still 3 races to go, tells me automatically they're 150 points ahead at least.
Well, 1 point gained from Maldi to JMO. I think JMO will report his original 3-second time penalty for cutting the chicane. I think that will probably get
a
removed
yeah,
from
we
the
probably might get a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision with side effects.
exactly. So that is unless side effects doesn't report it, then in that case, no need to worry about that for JMO. But a fantastic finish really, with Yilmaz getting, I believe, his first win of the season. He'll be sure to post that on his YouTube later on.
I'm sure
but
he will.
yeah, Yilmaz finishing P1 of the Grand Prix in Monza. Fantastic race from him. He only won by, of course, 1/10. Very, very close right up until the edge. Let's invite Alpha Z into the party, and also Rafita if they want to do some interviews.
I don't think Alpha Z would do it. I don't think Alpha Z does interviews. He doesn't speak English well.
Maldi finishing P4, JMO finishing P5, Mad Max P6, MGL P7, Zonafx P8, Moncho P9, Matador P10, Chaos P11, Diesel P12, Daniel P13, Member P14, Simon P15, and Perillo in last place in P16. Thank you for watching a fantastic Monza Grand Prix. But now we've got the interviews with both of Rafita and also Pursuit.
Yep, obviously I'm not sure how good you guys' English is, but if we can get some words off you two, if that's possible in English, that would be very nice if you can. So we'll go on to Rafita first.
Rafita, do you speak English?
Hello, Rafita.
Hello.
You might want to.
You might want to put your microphone closer to you, Rafita, so we can hear you more clearly.
Turned it up to 200. Well, try and get some word, Rafita. Get podium there. I'm sure you're going to be very happy with that, considering where you started. Happy with the result? Also, Rafita, did you make sure your audio was included? Okay, that's very nice.
Also, Rafita, just one more question for you. You had some great battles with J-Mo, of course. That battle up top with, I believe also your teammate, of course, Yilmaz. Anything to comment on?
Pistol. Sorry, just keep it basic.
Yeah, I was literally just about to finish off the question.
I know.
Any comments towards Yilmaz about his victory tonight?
Me, I have a little touch with other pilot. I don't know, it's Alpha or the first, but the
If you don't know
sorry,
words.
I have problem with the phone.
Yeah, that's fine. Obviously, you've had a tiny bit of touch with contact with them, but yeah, you understand.
It's a little contact. I in the interior and brake and
under braking.
Touch a little.
All right, we'll end it there, Rafita. But yeah, well done on your podium. I think you're trying your best with English, but yeah, congrats you. Well done with the podium. Alpha Z, I'm not sure how well your English is. Obviously, if you want to put a few words in, include your audio in the party as well. Any comments on your race, Alpha Z? How well on you? How are you happy with that?
Well, it was an amazing race for me. Very fun. And a good battle with Yilmaz. That's it. Very fun race.
Very few words. A bit very Jamo-like.
But I'd also like to question, 1/10 was a gap between you and Yilmaz right until the very end. Obviously, some respect between you two both. Any comments on that very, very late battle?
Yeah, well, I was saving up ERS for the last lap, but it just wasn't enough. He was too quick on the straights. I don't know how, because I was running 1-2 wings. He was way faster.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Alpha Z.
Thank you very much. Yeah, obviously sometimes the downforce can sometimes differ. Sometimes things like ride height can make a big difference in your straight line speed as well. I noticed that before as well. But yeah, thank you very much for LC. Congratulations to PT. Unfortunate not the win, but still it's a very, very solid result. Nevertheless. In that case, that is your Italian Green GP done and dusted for this week. Obviously, of your STB anniversary, obviously this week as well. But we will return next week for the United States Grand Prix as we return to COTA, a very bumpy track of COTA. Can get some really good, tasty races there for sure. But we'll be there next week, as usual. Back in the come box with Maldi and Pistol for Tier 1. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you there next week. Bye.